Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Speak Podcast. Special people encouraging kids who have gone through trauma, bullying, suicidal ideations, considerations, or even attempts. We want you to know that we are here for you, that we are here to encourage you to speak up, to speak out, to speak from within so that you can live to live again. My name is Bree, the host of Speak Podcast. You all know that by now. But again, we want you to like, subscribe, and to share the podcast with others. So, this particular episode, we have a special guest, Jordan Miller. Woo!
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for having me, Barisha. You're an amazing person. And if these people are following you, then watching you, then we're amongst some good company. But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for being here. Jordan is the founder of Generation Y here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And Generation Y, they're doing some amazing things. Jordan, tell us a little bit about Generation Y.
Yeah, Generation Y, we started 7 years ago. We are a collective group of creative artists that came together 7 years ago and wanted to make an impact in the youth of Oklahoma because 7 years ago, during 2017, we went from 32nd to the third leading state in the nation for teen suicide, and we were like, okay, now we know what we want to do. We knew we wanted to use the arts. We have rappers, dancers, spoken word artists, motivational speakers, and know how to put on a show. You've come to one.
I've come to one. That's how we met.
It was a brief one.
That's how we met.
Yeah. At Chicken and Pickle, and so that was a wild.
That was
a God moment, you know.
It really was.
Yeah. So yeah, we started from there, man, and then we knew what we wanted to use the creative arts because it's a universal language, being able to connect with the youth and connect with anybody. To be honest, if it's art, you know. So we started 7 years ago, and word caught around Oklahoma that there's a crazy group of college age students wanting to make a difference and doing it in a different way, and then it's kind of evolved from there. And so we still have our travel team, and that impacts over 20,000 students annually. And then we have now our home team, which is a mentorship class that we started in John Marshall High School 2 years ago, and it has been incredible. This year has been okay, I don't want to say hilarious. It has been impactful because of the reason that it's been backwards. It's been hilarious because it's been impactful, because like we've been intentionally impacting the students, and like you see these students bring out their character, bring out their talents and abilities, their passions and everything, and it's a beautiful thing. So we have our travel team, home team, and then we have our internship. And our internship, we have 10 to 12 students that come throughout the summertime for a 9-week intensive of learning what your purpose is. And that's what Generation Y was birthed out of, and we called it Generation Y, WHY, because we believe that students and anybody can thrive in life whenever they find purpose. So
wonderful. I was going to ask that question. How did you all come up with, or how did you come up with Generation Y? So you just, in a sense, shared that.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously it comes from personal stories, personal things, and so but I once lived in what it felt like a purposeless life, period of time where I felt like, you know, there was not a lot of hope, not a lot of resources, not a lot of anything, and not a lot of support. You know, I was like, man, this is I feel like there's no purpose to it. And so yeah, I'm a suicide survivor. I attempted twice when I was a freshman in college, and then a couple years later I lost one of my good friends to suicide.
Oh, wow.
And so going through it yourself is already big enough, but for some reason whenever I lost somebody that's closest to me, it ignited something in me that was like, okay, I need to do something about it. And it changed my perspective on, you know, what life is. And so anyway,
let's put a pin there, because I do want to, we want to
Yeah.
hear your story.
Yeah.
But take us back a little bit with finding Generation Y and the
Yeah.
purpose around that, which you are giving us a little bit of that now.
Mhm.
You mentioned that you work with children who have or experience bullying, suicidal ideations, even
Mhm.
considerations or attempts, and you're working in a school, John Marshall.
Mhm.
Take us to that process and how did you get into the schools and what are the numbers or statistics of the data, how you're helping
Yeah.
those students, and in what ways, not only through the creative arts, but
Mhm.
in what ways, like, are they coming and sharing their story easily, or they are building a relationship with you and your team to be able to trust you
Mhm.
to be able to speak about their story? Kind of walk us through
Yeah,
that.
I heard it perfectly said from a teacher. She came up to us probably like 4 years ago after a assembly, and she was like, you guys kind of take these students on like a emotional roller coaster and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I'm like, I never really thought about it like that, but I guess like that's kind of what it is. So like, we use all forms of creative arts, media, multimedia, live DJ, music that's being played. Like, our goal is to literally change the atmosphere in a place that I personally used to think was mundane. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like to go to school. I didn't like motivational speakers. I don't like people motivating the way that they used to, or just motivating in general. Like, people will push kids to do things, but they never inspire somebody to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those are two different things. And so that's what this goal of this team is to do, is to go into the school, and you hear it from the classroom that you're down the hallway from, and you hear it in the gym or the auditorium, and like there's loud music already playing, and we're probably obnoxious, to be honest, but the kids from the beginning of them leaving the classroom, they're probably already having a rough day, or they had a rough morning whenever they got up from school, or missed the bus, or had an argument with their parents, and then they get to school and they already got pressure from their teachers, their friends, social life, all the things. And it's like, um, I'm not gonna come in here and be a motivational speaker expecting you to listen to me. Like, I have to change the atmosphere from the
So you
jump.
change the atmosphere first.
Yeah, you
Okay.
change that, and that's for anything. Like, even
Mm-hmm.
if you're in a like in a conversation, like, okay, I don't want to get off topic, but
No, I get what you're
you know what
saying.
I'm
You
saying?
want to you want to read the room
Yeah,
in a sense, and then you try to, you know,
set the tone.
set the tone.
Yeah,
Yep.
if you can set the that's the leadership 101. You know what I'm saying? You set the temperature in the room. And so
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, they walk in, they hear their favorite songs playing, or a funny song playing, you know what I'm saying? And like, you see kids that literally, in the emotional or spiritual sense, like they walk in like upset, or they
Mm-hmm.
walk in arms crossed, or
Mm-hmm.
they walk in and they, whatever is going on in their life. And
Mm-hmm.
as soon as they walk through the threshold of that door, like, you just see them start to change. And then we jump into our assembly, and from the testimonies that we talk about, the tips and tricks, and talking about mental health, or we talk about things that we've been through and
Mm-hmm.
overcame, and now we're utilizing our purpose to be able to impact on a larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just see these students, like, either break, or you see them have a light bulb go off, and they're like, oh, okay, it's not really that hard,
Yeah.
or it's not really that crazy. Because like, we as even whenever I was a student, like, you think so much about being an adult, and you're like, once I get here, everything's gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
I
But
remember saying
right,
that.
right. But you realize, like, the more that you get here, the
Mm-hmm.
more you put pressure on yourself, and then you
Mm-hmm.
don't even know what's gonna happen when you get here. And if
Mm-hmm.
you do, and when you do, then you're like, oh, this is it. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
for people to come in and like us to be able to relate with them on their and talk on their level and be able to connect with them and use the stuff that they can relate to,
Mhm.
then it makes these hard topics a whole lot lighter. And
And
so,
and and that's what I realized, and that's what I wanted to kinda, I guess, elaborate on too, is that children or even just youth, they're wanting to see the
mhm,
authenticity
yeah,
rather of people.
mhm,
They want you to be real and they want to know that you've gone through something similar,
yeah,
you know,
right,
of what they're going through.
mhm,
And you can't come around sugarcoating anything or pretending or making up. You gotta, be the
mhm,
real deal
yeah,
to our generation Y.
yeah.
So you get to John Marshall. How did you get accepted, or how did you get the permission to, or even
Well,
why John Marshall?
that's a long story. But how? Okay, so what led us to John Marshall was, um, I was okay. So long story short, I'll be quick. So during COVID, all of our live events and everything got canceled. Obviously,
Hmm.
COVID, and
Hmm.
so we had to do what we wanted to do and had to do for that moment. And we actually shot our live, or our assembly live in like
Hmm.
a, we did it at a church and recorded it and did our own, production and editing and everything. And like, that virtual assembly went into the same amount of schools virtually as it would if it was in person.
Okay.
And we had over 50 schools that were booked that year, that all of them got canceled, and so we were able to
Wow.
still go into it. And so, beautiful thing,
Mm.
thousands of students still got touched by the topic of purpose, and it
Hmm.
was incredible. And so
Hmm.
um anyway, so we did that, and then I was dri I was driving down May and went to this Taco Bueno and got some burritos, was eating them on the way, and I just felt led for some reason. I just felt led to drive through. I went through this neighborhood while I was eating on lunch break,
Hmm.
and then somehow I got led, for one, by a building that I was praying over anyway, and then also got to John Marshall, and this was during COVID. Everybody was gone, so nobody was in the parking lot, and I was just praying, and I was like, I don't know why, I feel led to this, obviously this area, but then
Hmm.
also for some reason, like, this school was close to like where I was working at the time. And then and I just felt led to the school, man. And
Hmm.
then I didn't know everything that I heard, on the news, like, oh, it's a rough school. And at the time there was two schools that merged, I believe. Yeah, yeah. And then the middle schools were going crazy. Like, they got put on national news. Like, it was wild, like, wild.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it was now being in that school for the past 2 years, it's frustrating that you know we paint pictures of people, and it's not helpful at all when people are people,
Hmm.
and everybody needs hope, and everybody needs purpose, and everybody
Hmm.
needs a reminder that you need to stay another day. And so anyway, so 2 years ago, um oh yeah, I want to make sure I finish that. So taco, school, boom,
Hmm.
we're done. All right. So 2 years ago, one of my friends that I met during in COVID, and also met Taylor as well during this leadership thing that we did called Salt. And anyway, met him through that, Marcus Black, and then he was already in the school doing some mentorship stuff. And
Hmm.
so
Marcus
and
Black.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so he was there, and then he wanted he we were going on a trip. I was driving him and me and the team to Colorado, I think. Yeah. And we were driving to Denver, and we did a event for him and stuff. And on the way back, he was like, "Dude, you talk about mental health, you talk about purpose. I love those things.
And so you
Why don't
two
we?" just why
Collaborated.
don't you just come, yeah,
Yeah.
be a part, or and then vice versa. So so yeah, that's how that was. Like he was doing mentorship class, and then we were doing school assemblies. So yeah, pretty much merged the two, and now he was able to do
Hmm.
school assemblies, and then we were able to get into John Marshall, and it was just a perfect
And you said
blend
at the
and
beginning
stuff.
it
So
was a God thing. So you were on the parking lot, you prayed about it. So that was
yeah,
a God
man.
thing. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
all came together. And now you're
Mhm.
in John Marshall. And shout out to John Marshall High
Yeah,
School. Um,
the Bears are incredible. The Marshall, yes.
okay.
Yes.
So now you're in John Marshall, you're doing assemblies. The students are
Yeah.
seeing you're changing the
Yeah.
atmosphere. You read in the room, so the tone is changed. The students hear this music, they're
Yeah.
hearing like what's happening in the school. I want to go and see, I want to be a part of it. You've already gotten the principal's approval. The
Mhm.
teachers are, they know about you, the counselors know about you. So they're sending the students, it's an okay
Yeah.
for the students to be able to come to this assembly. Is it during their
Mhm.
class time or is it after school?
So those are two different things. Sorry,
Okay.
so sorry. So the assembly is its own thing, and then the class, the mentorship class, we go in every Tuesday. We bring food during their lunchtime,
Okay.
and they choose, yes. And we have over 150 kids that come to our class, and
So
yeah,
these students can
it's
get out of their classroom to come. They get the
or they'll
approval.
they'll go through the instead of going to lunch, like they will come to our class.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's during the lunchtime.
Mhm.
And then the assemblies are on Tuesdays, Thursdays.
The assemblies are a whole different, like what? Sorry, I don't know. So the assemblies and the travel team, we do like all schools,
All
all
schools,
over
not just John
Oklahoma.
Marshall.
Yeah, yeah,
Got it. Got it.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
when are those? Are
they're on Wednesdays
on Wednesdays
all the time.
at
Yeah.
at a particular school.
Yeah, any school in Oklahoma. We'll drive to Timbuktu, we'll drive
Okay.
to wherever,
Okay.
and so like right now we have a college in Kansas that we're gonna be going to next month. And so like we drive all over.
Okay.
That goes literally all over the country.
And
So
during the assemblies, that's the creative art
that's
side.
the
That's
creative
the
art side. Yes,
music.
ma'am.
That's the all
Yeah.
the things, all the fun things,
Yes, ma'am.
and the students get to see the real
Yeah.
you, your team, and they become relatable
Yes, ma'am.
and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that. I'm
Yeah,
learning.
yeah. No,
I'm
you're
learning.
good. My
I'm
bad.
learning.
I'm gonna explain it
Okay,
right.
so
So
this is
sorry.
generation Y with the assemblies, with the mentorship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you have a connection or a partnership with John Marshall where
Yes.
you help the students there. And
Mhm.
students that come to you are students that have gone through bullying, gone through
Oh,
some
they're
type of
dealing with
trauma,
everything over there.
everything.
It's awesome. So yeah.
Wow.
It
Okay.
awesome in the fact of like our team doesn't feel like we're alone. You know, our because our team we come from, going through traumatic things and like different home backgrounds, different, things, different triggers or whatever. Like even some people on the team, have recently gone through some things or gone
Mm-hmm.
through some losses or any of those things. So it's like these students coming in and they being able to really relate with us, and then vice versa. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a weird stigma with adults and kids. It's like we're really just grown up kids, to be honest. So we just got a little bit more time under us,
Yeah.
and so but us being able to help guide them in the fact of like, seeing and viewing life differently. Like I feel like there's, just like we were saying earlier, when you're a kid you got a perspective of like an adult's got it all figured out, or
Until you
an
become one.
adult, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think for an adult to break that fourth wall with a kid is like, nah man, like we can just really help navigate your how you handle your emotions, how you can
Mm-hmm.
get better at communication, like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing too that I love about our mentorship class and our curriculum that's going to be coming out in the fall time.
Okay.
So shout out to that. And that's two curriculums. One, I don't want to give too much, Barisha,
You just started. You just said
because
it.
we're gonna do part two, right?
I don't know. Well, you
Oh,
may, but yeah. But
Marcus
go
got
ahead
on
and
there
share it.
twice.
Say what?
Here's the time to pull this out. Would you like a mint? I had one
Oh
earlier.
no. After the fact.
You don't
But
know.
no, go ahead and share about the curriculum.
Anyways, no I'm playing. The curriculum, man, is a 12 topic, 24-week curriculum that goes all throughout the school. That's going to be digitally done and done by our team, and I'm really excited about it. And then we also have the second curriculum that is geared toward all students that are within leadership programs, whether it's like FCCLA or student council or what's it NHS or any of those type of leadership programs and
Okay.
stuff. And so super excited for it.
Awesome.
But that'll be a whole nother additive and progress or a program for
So generation wise continuing to grow, sounds like.
man, yes.
So take us back. We put a pin there, when you were talking about your story or getting ready to share a little bit about your story and how you were able to get to the place where you're in now to be able to help someone else. You mentioned how growing up you felt like you were purposeless. There was no purpose for you. And you attempted suicide in college twice.
Yeah.
And one of your close friends passed from it. So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about that and how you were able to overcome.
Overcome my specific one or my friend?
Both.
Sorry. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I would say not my whole life I felt purposeless, so I'm sorry if I but during that specific time for sure, like college time. And so I would say the way that I initially got over it, or got through it, not over, I say. The way that I really got over it was by the people that I surrounded myself with, to be honest. Like, I mean, there was so many people that growing up, I always had these grand ideas of how, like, growing up either in church or in in school or any of those things. Like, I was always a listener. Like, I would be listening to people talk, how they move, how they react to certain things, and I felt like I knew, like, how to connect, and I would utilize the things that I watched them react to, if that makes sense. And I would voice them to my, like, quote unquote leader or you know, whoever's over, and then it would always get shot down, like, just like ideas and stuff. And so and then graduating and then trying to find my lane or whatever profession or whatever, it didn't really have like a degree for, can you get a master's in I care about people a lot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there wasn't. So I went to community college, and there was a lot of single moms that brought their kids to school. So that was amazing. Sorry though. I'm gonna keep my jokes to myself. I'm terrible.
Was that a joke?
No, I'm sorry. It was a joke to me. I'm sorry. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Barisha.
Because in my
It's
head,
just
I
to
was
me.
thinking, did your mom bring you? But you were already in college. Now that's the joke. I'm like, okay, he's already in college. So did his mom bring him? Anyway. Okay. So yeah, you're you're in college.
If my mom took me to college, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, because my mom was that type of mom.
She was that type of mom.
Yeah, I mess with my mom for sure.
Wow. So you're in college and things are going on around you in your life.
Yes.
And you're now thinking to take your life.
Yeah.
But I love where we are. And because I think I want to go before you even go there.
Yeah.
go to your childhood,
Yeah.
to what that was like,
Mhm.
and what could have, like, emotions that could have, whatever was going on that may have been suppressed
Mhm.
in your life
Yeah.
within you. Now you're in college, and some things that may have been from your childhood
Mhm.
may have come up to may have been a trigger. But
Mm.
think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Um, I really want us to just really dive in that, because there may be some children or youth or even adults that may be listening to this episode and may be contemplating, or dealing with
Mm.
something. And it could be something that was from childhood, but now have reared itself now. And I'm speaking to an adult right now, but even as children or youth that may have gone through something that they have not dealt with, and it may be rearing itself
Mhm.
to where something new is happening, but what happened in the past is now rearing itself, and they're wanting to do something drastic about that. It's traumatizing,
Yeah.
So I want to bring you back
Mm.
to kind of talk about your childhood a little bit,
Yeah.
because we talked about Generation Y. We know about Generation Y. Exciting things are happening with Generation Y here in Oklahoma City, or even the surrounding areas of Oklahoma
Mhm.
County,
Yeah.
or around
Yeah.
the county, that they're helping the children. So for those who are needing an assembly or wanting to know more about Generation Y, how can they find you?
Yeah, you can go to www.pursueyourwhy.org. We have a booking section right there. We also have a giving portion as well. So then, if you would like to become a part of the club, we got a deal called the Million Club. We're trying to get 1 million people being able to fuel the next generation, so then they can be able to have a better mental health. And so yeah, there's a lot of ways to get involved, and then as well as being a volunteer, like, yeah, mentor, all the things. So yeah,
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're going to
thank you.
bring Jordan back. We're going to bring him back so that we can hear more about his story. So tune in. There will be a part two, Mr. Jordan. There
Yeah,
will
I
be a
made
part
it.
two. Don't try to be like nobody else but you. There will be a part two. So
Excellent.
we're gonna bring Jordan back. So you all tune in to the next episode with Generation Y, Mr. Jordan Miller. Thank you for listening to Speak Podcast. We are special people encouraging a kid to speak up, to speak out, to speak from within, to live again. See you soon.